This breaking news right now, the House currently is taking a test vote for debate on a series of foreign aid bills. Now, remember, they were all lumped together, and then Speaker Mike Johnson began taking things apart with the dedicated hope of getting separate aid for Israel quickly. Because, you know, Ukraine is part of this, Indo-Pacific is part of this. So he splits it up, and now they are doing a test vote on whether the debate can start on those bills. And it looks like that they have the votes for that movement, that process to go forward. So let's get right now to Chad Pergram, who's on the Hill. So this is important in the U.S. House. Chad, and I would imagine that this is also a day filled of angst for Speaker Mike Johnson, because this could trigger something else.
Yeah, you know, he said just a bit ago here, Harris, that he's not too worried about his job. And we'll play that soundbite here in just a couple of moments. But let me walk you through this roll call vote right now. What's so unique about this? You have to have this vote first, this test vote, in order to bring the actual foreign aid package to the floor. If this were to fail, gig would be up. They couldn't put the bill on the floor. The reason this is a big deal here, if you look at the scoreboard here, is that you have 164 Democratic yeas. I don't ever recall in all my years covering Congress any instances of the minority party voting yes on a test vote to put a bill on the floor, let alone such a staggering number, let alone more votes than the majority party. And that's been the criticism of some Republicans at Mike Johnson, that he's using Democrats to put these bills on the floor. I mean, that's a remarkable vote if you look at it. This is going to pass in a few minutes. They will actually put the overall bill on the floor. They're announcing the vote total right now. This is Mike Garcia, a Republican of California. So they have the votes, this key test vote. They have crossed that hurdle, and they will be ready to put the actual individual bills on the floor tomorrow. What this rule does is it allows them to debate and vote on an Israel bill, a Ukraine bill, also a Taiwan bill, and then kind of a combination bill for Ukraine, and also to ban TikTok. They will do those individually tomorrow. But what we're looking for right now is whether or not there will be an effort by Marjorie Taylor Greene to try to remove Mike Johnson from the speakership. The speaker said he's not worried. Listen.
Are you concerned about losing your speakership?
No, I'm not concerned about it.
Are you worried about your job?
No, don't worry. I just do my job. I'm going to do my job. I'm not deterred by threats, and we're going to do the right thing and let the chips fall where they may.
So they'll put this bill on the floor tomorrow. What happens is they will vote on them separately and then blend them together as one. That's why what they did on this rule here, it's kind of a congressional Cuisinart here, where they blend them together and then send it over to the Senate. But they have to get through those tomorrow. Let me go back to Mike Johnson here. Even if Marjorie Taylor Greene were to put her resolution on the floor today, the House might not consider it. Why? Such resolutions to remove the speaker are privileged, which means you have to consider it immediately or within 2 days. So if you're Mike Johnson, you might say, wait a minute, let's at least get this Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan money through. And then if Marjorie Taylor Greene still wants to come at me, have at it. We have passed it. Keep in mind, this is what happened with Kevin McCarthy last fall. He put that bill on the floor, a temporary bill to avert a government shutdown. And that's when Matt Gaetz came after him a couple of days later, and he was removed from the speakership in an unprecedented move before the House of Representatives. So we don't know whether or not Marjorie Taylor Greene will actually do that, if it will ever come to that. But we may learn something today. If it does happen today, that does not necessarily mean that they would vote today to remove Johnson. Harris?
All right, I want to make sure I get this straight. So Democrats, you said, did something that was unprecedented today. They technically helped this process along, and it wasn't a process that they were driving. And I just want to get your further reporting on that, because that's worth noting. And we've been hearing in recent days, as you watch other networks, you're reading other things, we're all taking in a cauldron of information, I hope. And what Democrats seem to be saying is that they don't want chaos and going through no speaker. So is this kind of an opening salvo that they might help the process along such that Mike Johnson stays in his seat? I don't know. I'm asking you.
Yeah, this was a test vote for more than one thing. This was a test vote to get the bill on the floor for international aid tomorrow. This was also a test vote for Mike Johnson to see if Democrats would be willing to help him. It's not designed parliamentarily that way, right, and they might not have as many Democrats who would vote to keep Mike Johnson in the job. But, you know, I talked to Tom Suozzi, the Democrat from New York yesterday, who indicated, he said, we don't want to penalize somebody who's doing the right thing. most Democrats think that passing this foreign aid package, especially the money for Ukraine, is of paramount importance, and they might be willing to step in and help Mike Johnson keep his job if push comes to shove.
So that's interesting. I guess the next test will be, will do most Republicans feel that way? Or would they back Marjorie Taylor Greene? Not everybody wants to jump in with more money for Ukraine. This goes around and around. Chad Pergram, you were covering the breaking news on the Hill. It's important today on this Friday, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.